my best not to think of it as a degradation and to ignore the flashes of humiliation that passed through me as I worked. Just last month, I was Aminata Akit, the youngest daughter of one of the most successful salt merchants in the empire. I had been poised to marry into nobility, to a boy I loved. But that was all over now, and every task I performed that morning felt like a punishment. A servant girl should always maintain a pleasant expression for the benefit of her employer, but I felt myself scowling with indignation instead. Luckily, Princess Mariama was far too distraught to take notice. Slow, silent tears slid down her face as we draped her wrapper and pinned up her braids with gold and ivory hair ornaments, revealing the slender curve of her neck. Penda held the princess's hand in comfort until she ceased her weeping. When the princess crossed over to the windows to watch the crowd of spectators gathering in the market below, Geneba, the third chambermaid, rolled her eyes. Ugh, after 98 executions, it's a wonder that she still weeps at all, she whispered, her neat dark braids catching a golden triangle of late morning sunlight. Even with her permanent smirk, Geneba was a striking girl, with wide-set eyes, full lips, and a small and pointed chin. If she had been high-born, she might have had several eager suitors of her own. But she was only a servant, just like all the others, just like me. "Jen, for shame!" Penta gasped. "What if she hears you?" Both girls turned to me expectantly, perhaps thinking I would join in their game of gently ridiculing the princess. I'd met her personal attendants only that morning, but it was already clear that there was a pecking order among them. Irreverent Geneba was the leader, while Penda, her sweet-natured friend, followed in her footsteps. An earlier me would have joked along with Geneba, submitting to her authority just as I had always bent to the will of my parents. But I was determined to leave that person behind, and so I said nothing. Then came a messenger to announce that it was noon, time for the three of us to escort the princess to the market square for the execution. Upon his only daughter's 13th birthday, Emperor Suleiman had issued a decree that any prince or nobleman who could pass his trials would be permitted to marry her, while all who failed were killed. The emperor had distributed his terms to every corner of the empire in hundreds of identical scrolls. Venture into the desert for 3 nights with 3 of my best horsemen. On the 3rd evening, you shall come across a grove of date palms with bark as blue as a summer sky. Split the largest tree with an axe, and you will see that its wood is dark red, like blood. Return to my palace, present me with 3 planks of this wood, and I will permit you to wed my daughter. But if you fail this first trial, if my horsemen bring you back to the palace empty-handed, you must attempt a second trial, a bath in boiling water. The suitor who leaves the bath with air still in his lungs and blood still in his veins may marry the princess. The trials seemed impossible, but that had not prevented suitors from far across the empire, even distant cities such as Mopti or Niani or Yoff by the sea, from traveling to the emperor's palace to try to win his daughter's hand. All had failed. Of course they had. To my knowledge, trees of sky blue bark and blood red wood did not exist. And even if such a specimen could be found within the vastness of the northern desert, I doubted a nobleman would be the first to discover it. My father always said that while Mali's noblemen were skilled in diplomacy and military strategy, in drawing elegant calligraphy and mapping the stars, their desert survival skills were often lacking. It was the merchant class that knew how to carve careful paths through the Sahara on camels laden with salt, gold, kola nuts, and richly woven fabrics. Merchants knew to travel only at night, when the desert was cool and more easily navigable.